What is your assessment of this case, and what significance does it have on press freedoms and investigative journalism?
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree with what the UN Rapporteur of Torture has assessed here. We're talking about several years of isolation, right? I mean, what does that do to someone, especially it coming out that the CIA was spying on essentially every single encounter that Julian Assange had with people who were visiting him in the embassy, lawyers? I mean, all of these things should have remained confidential. It was an absolute betrayal by Lenin Moreno and the UK government. He was tortured. And this was before he was actually put in this confined cell, facing 175 years in prison under the Espionage Act. This case has incredibly wide-reaching implications then. Unfortunately, Julian Assange has already been tried in the court of public opinion. People loathe him and they think that he, cost the election for Hillary Clinton, when really, in reality, if you look at these charges, they have nothing to do with Russia. They have nothing to do with the 2016 election. They have everything to do with exposing war crimes. We're going back to 2003. I mean, the Iraq war cables, war crimes that were committed, the collateral murder video. These are what the charges come down to. And if people really understood how devastating it is to actually charge a publisher under the Espionage Act, which has never been done before. Espionage Act was, of course, used flagrantly by the Obama administration. Now it's being used by the Trump administration against whistleblowers, which is already horrifying enough. To resurrect this archaic law during World War I to now charge people who are whistleblowing war crimes and things like torture, but now to use it against a publisher. This could mean New York Times, Wall Street Journal. It could mean you or me. It could mean anyone that simply publishes leaks and analyzes them just like all of these publications do. So I think this case is absolutely devastating, horrifying, and wide-reaching implications for press freedom and journalism as a whole. And unfortunately, people have already made up their mind about Julian Assange. They're not taking a stand the way they should be, because this is a case that affects us all. And if we don't stand up and say no more, I fear we're in for a really dark road ahead.
I want to pick up on that. In press conferences held by the German government, our Russia Today RT journalist named Florian Warbeck has been quite persistent, and the question he's been asking persistently is, what is the German government's position on the report produced by the UN Special Rapporteur Nils Melzer? And the government's reply has been, consistently, even though this question has been posed for weeks, they haven't heard about it, about the report. And the Real News Network also reported recently that Amnesty International has not raised the level to Julian's case on campaign level, which they usually do for other cases, whether it's from foreign countries. And corporate media outlets in Germany and both the US have not called red alert on this, even though, as you've just pointed out, this has major implications on journalism. So the question is, why are there silence on this issue, and what can people do to inform others about this case?
I think there's silence on this issue because there's a direct collaboration between all of these governments that are essentially puppets or criminal collaborators of the U.S. empire. The fact that Trump, kind of went outside of the norm to arrest, seize someone out of an embassy that they were granted amnesty in, and charge them with the Espionage Act for simply publishing leaks and covering leaks. I mean, it's really unprecedented, Zen. And I think that all of these collaborators are guilty of the same crime. I mean, anyone who's not standing up and saying that this is an absolutely atrocious and criminal assault on journalism is complicit, and they're participating in this criminal act. But I think that that's exactly why they're staying silent on it. Of course, they're not going to come out and say, yeah, unfortunately, Julian Assange was tortured for the last couple of years, and he is being tortured now. I mean, we still can't muster to explain that solitary confinement is torture in this country, and we use it all the time. So it's devastating. I think that people need to wake up and inform themselves and act out. I mean, speak out about this issue, inform people that these charges have nothing to do with Russia, they have nothing to do with the election, that they are about exposing war crimes. And if we're going to lock people away facing 200 years in prison for exposing war crimes, what kind of country, what kind of world are we going to live in? So we have to stand up and collectively say no more.